MJADALA Court of Public Opinion, and today we're joined by two gentlemen in the blue corner. This, by the way, nimesema ni watu wenye.
Start with the blue corner.
I always have to start with the corners. In the blue corner.
They're both wearing blue, sister.
Relax, I tell you. Man.
Okay.
Chairman of the Federation of Public Transport Sector, anaitwa Edwin Mukabana. Karibu sana Morning Vibes. And he's going to be telling you a bit about background yake. Alafu pia in the red corner, tunaye Constant Cap. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if have you ever met Gen Z? Wauliza wakuambia jina yako inamaanisha nini? It's like Constant Cap.
Yeah.
Anyway, anasema he is urban planner, senior product manager, Code for Africa. Gentlemen, welcome to Morning Vibes. And we appreciate that you've taken the time to come and educate us. Because we look at the roads and we're like, Kenya, vitu zinakuanga too difficult. And you know, you start thinking that this is just the norm, you know. Someone made a comment the other day, akasema, ati Kenyans, actually, we can rein in the madness on the roads. Akasema, case in point, when a Kenyan drives to JKIA, they will be doing all sorts of madness between Uhuru Highway, Mombasa Road, blah, blah, blah. But when they get to JKIA, they will slow down. They will follow the protocol, and they will drive sanely inside JKIA. So it means we can follow rules, but challenges ni kwa the actual roads.
Yeah.
So I'll start by introduce yourself and let people know your background.
Okay. Thanks a lot. My name is Constant Cap, as was said earlier on. I'm trained as an urban planner. I do a lot of, I work at Code for Africa as a senior product manager, where I run a program called Sensors Africa that does air quality and noise pollution assessments. Aside from that, I do a lot of advocacy planning, basically advocating for better cities, and with a lot of focus and research also on transportation. And what I call socially just public transport, especially you know, transport for, you know, for the elderly, for people with disability, for children, inclusive, considers human rights, and is also environmentally sustainable.
Yeah.
It looks like a very big vision, but I believe it's achievable. I don't use bus stops like you guys had said earlier on, because I'm an active cyclist.
Oh, nice.
So you are just trying to die on the roads. City roads. By the way, there's something you said, Constant, and I was just like, you should call the Nairobi Club Association. Hawajuangi juu ya noise nini, and I had something about soundproofing hapo. You can talk to the club.
That's a story for another day, because I was actually one of the initial people involved in that campaign, the noise pollution campaign in Kilimani. Yeah. And at that time, we even had a court. There's a long story. We even went to court against certain clubs on Ngong Road. I won't name them in other places, but I see the fight is still going on.
It's still going on, man. And actually hearing from the county saying, we will not shut down clubs because of noise. Like, why will you shut them then? Are you waiting for somebody to be punched and killed for you to know that it's bad for the for the neighborhoods?
Yeah.
But
even
anyway,
for children's health, and I mean there are many factors that come with
noise.
Yeah.
Tutakuinvite to discuss noise kwingine.
Another day.
Mr. Mukabana, karibu sana Morning Vibes.
Asante sana.
You have an extensive career in transport and urban planning. Hebu tuambie background yako ni gani?
Background yangu, I'm actually trained as a political scientist, but I left that and joined public transport way back in 1984. I don't know where you are.
I wasn't there.
She wasn't.
I wasn't.
I joined the United Group of Companies, which was called the OTC Kenya Bus Mombasa, and UTC has. It was a big conglomerate that ran that outfit. So I did public transport there, but for now I chair the Federation of Public Transport Sector, which brings together all the associations, the Matatu Welfare Association, the Matatu Owners Association, the Bus Operators Association. There are so many, there are about 10 of them that come together to form that association. In addition, I am the vice president of a body called UITP. UITP is International Association of Public Transport in Brussels. I've been the chair of Public Transport Sector Board at Kenya Private Sector Alliance some time ago. I am now the co-chair of the transition and transformation of public transport to a BRT environment in Kenya. partly those are some of the things that I do.
So I'm gonna umesikia hiyo CV ni kubwa. So hao ni watu ambao wanaelewa mambo ya transport. And gentlemen, tunaongea na Wakenya, lazima tu mix hapo. Najua president alienda Tanzania akasema hawezi
utanyamaza bwana.
Utanyamaza translate. Unfortunately hapa tuna translator, so itabidi mazee mix kidogo ndio Wakenya wapate kuelewa. So I want to start with tuanze with the very top. What would be the ideal situation ya transport? Ukiweka hizo vitu zote zenye umetaja, constant noise pollution isikue, kusikue na environmental damages, hiyo world inakaje? Kwa sababu to the average Kenyan, wewe tembea hapo Mudhurwa, hizo dreams zako zitaisha. Unavuta vumbi hapa, umekanyagwa, pop by the time umefika nyumbani macho hazioni, unakohoa, masikio zinauma, you are irritated, you are stressed, and you have to perform at the very best. So what should transport in its ideal, because let's talk ideal and then we'll start with the history.
Ideal, in fact, kusema transport is a wrong terminology. Nafaa kusema mobility. Okay, movement, ease of movement. And the ideal situation, tunaweza ita the 15-minute city, where you can access anything within 15 minutes. Be it unaweza enda shule, unaweza enda sports, unaweza enda madukani, soko, whatever you want, within 15 minutes using the most available means, and not necessarily using the private car. So unaweza tumia baiskeli, unaweza tembea, unaweza tumia public transport, which is what we're going to discuss later today. So that is the ideal. Alafu for long distances, you have easy access to kama ni bus stop ama train station, ili you're able to go to another side of town very easily. Hiyo ndio ideal.
Okay, na all this kwa sababu mi naishi pahali mabarabara, yani there's a huge road right next, na I can tell you that ile moshi na vumbi that a lot of people experience. In fact, I really feel for hawkers because I don't think they understand just how much they consume in terms of magari. Ukiangalia an average lorry ama bus ama magari zingine ni kama ile spark plug imededi. So vitu zenye inatoa, you're just like, how is this legal, Bona Mkabana, how was life like in 1984?
Kulikuwa kuzuri. Manake wakati huo ndo ulikuwa naenda bus stop, unangoja gari 5 minutes, unaingia kwa stage na gari inakupeleka. Haikupeleki tu city center, inakuvukisha hata city center na kukupeleka pahali penye unataka. That was the time when you would go to in front of Hilton, there was an information center. Na ungeenda ununue kitu ilikuwa na kiitwa A to Z. A to Z ilikuwa map ya kukusaidia kujua route zote za Nairobi zinaenda wapi, na namba gani utachukua ukielekea wapi. You can see wakati huo kulikuwa na public information. Siku hizi mtu matatu ikipiga kelele, wewe Kawangware mwisho, tunaona kama ni ubaya. But because we have denied the public passenger information. Kwa hivyo sasa imekuwa ni hivyo. Wakati huo magari yote haikuwa inaishia town. Magari yote ilikuwa ina transcend town. Ikielekea either inaelekea west ama inaelekea east, na yote ilikuwa inapita Kencom na Ambassador, na kulikuwa hakuna jam. Kwa hivyo wakati huo ni wakati wa planning. Planning ilikuwa ni sawa, na mwenzangu yuko hapa Kapa, najua kwamba shida yenye imekuwako sana ni planners hawa kuchukua position yao na kuweza kupanga hii city, kujua kwamba ni wapi kutakuwa nini na watu watasafiri namna gani, na kuna zile research ambazo zinafanywa kama passenger origin destination, kujua watu wanatoka wapi na wanaenda nani na what are the journey purposes, mtu anaenda kufanya nini. All these researches that were required to be done were never done. Wakati huo of course magari haiko kwa mingi kama sahi. Na kwa hivyo journey time ilikuwa ni faster, speed zilikuwa ni faster kuliko vile zilivyo sahi. Wakati huo ni wakati ambapo kulikuwa na strong TLB. TLB ilikuwa inaitwa Transport Licensing Board, ambayo ilikuwa ina regulate ile magari ambayo inaweza siku hizi ukinunua hata mabasi 20 utaleta Nairobi, 300 utaleta Nairobi. Hakuna mtu atasema wait a minute, tuko na magari mangapi ambayo tunahitaji, na is this the optimum, is it not what we want? Sasa hizo vitu zote zimechangia, lakini sana kile kimeleta shida ni kwamba hakuna watu wamekuwa trained katika public transport. Mimi mwenyewe nimetrain UK for public transport postgraduate. Na hii ni kwa sababu ukienda medical utakuta madaktari, nurses, medics wote wamekuwa trained na gava. Teaching hiyo waliwezi touch mwanafunzi without having been trained by government institutions. Transport, ukienda railway iko railway training school. Ukienda airways iko East African School of Aviation. Marine iko bandari ile ya zamani, siku hizi inaitwa Marine Academy. Hebu nieleze katika road transport tumetrain nani ataendesha hiyo? Kwa hivyo mimi nikinunua magari 20 na nianze kuongea sana, mnaona kama mimi najua transport.
Wewe ni pilot.
Mimi ni pilot. Yes. Lakini mara nyingi sio kwamba nasema kwa ubaya, lakini mara nyingi sisi wengine tunajikuta tuko tu katika stage, tume create kingdom hapo, na tunaanza hapo, tunaendesha gari, na kutoka hapo tunanunua gari na tunapeleka barabarani na tunakuwa operators. Lakini jinsi transport inatakiwa kuendeshwa kiprofessional haiko. Lakini wakati ule wa Kenya Bus, wote sisi wenye tulikuwa pale, you had to be trained properly kuendesha hiyo transport. Iko kitu inaitwa scheduling. Sio mchezo. Kuensure kwamba gari zimepangwa, zinataka kutoka Isili pale Isili garage. Gari 400 na zote zinatakiwa zitoke within a span of 1.5 hours from 4:30 to 6, zote ziwe zimetoka, na gari ya kwanza Kangemi isichelewe, Wangige isichelewe. Hii throughput katika gate it's a serious plan. Na unajua hizo lingia ikaoshwa, ikawekwa mafuta, ikakuwa service, na asubuhi zianze kwenda hivyo. Serious planning. Na zote ziko pale moja, sio kila gari kwa petrol station, nyingine hapa kwa petrol station, nyingine kwa boma yangu, huko ndio inaanzia ikianza kazi. Kwa hivyo
inaanza kama unaishi shara tu, watu wote wanaishi next to ule mse mwenye uone matatu, kwa sababu unajua unapikiwa kutoka kwa nyumba, unatoka na deri kitoka. So tumeona clearly the big problem yenye tulikuwa nayo kwa Kenya ni at some point tuliwachilia. In fact nilikuwa na watch a documentary ikiongea juu ya hiyo history of venye matatu ziliingia, na wanasema one of the key things yenye ilikill the you know the plan ilikuwa sasa hiyo basi inaingia hapo tuseme 10, lakini 9:30 kulikuwa na matatu zimejaza hiyo basi, nasema beba hakuna nini, so you couldn't stay on the schedule. So everything became chaos. Right? But there've been interventions. Kuna different successive governments zenye zimejaribu. Nikikumbuka wakati wa Mishuki alikuwa anajaribu sana kuleta sanity kwa hiyo environment. Na kuna msee alisema if there's political goodwill kwa sector ya transport, hii issue itasotiwa. I'll start with you, Constant. Do you think it's true that if we had real political goodwill that easy interventions zinaweza fanya kazi?
No, definitely, because political decisions are a key factor in any decision making, and application, you know, goes at the end of the day, ni government ndio inafanya hiyo either application or oversight. Kwa hivyo without that political goodwill, hizi vitu vya BRT, commuter rail, nini haziwezi tokea. Nairobi kuna plan inaitwa new plan, Nairobi Integrated Urban Development Plan, lilonchiwa na Kidero 2014. Ilifanywa na, it was prepared by local planners plus Japanese, with a lot of influence from the Japanese. Your plan inasema, you know, by 2030 there should be reliable and safe public transport. Alafu inapeana different suggestions, you know, BRT ndio one of them. Inasema improvement of commuter rail ya railways vile tuliona last year gava import hizo trains kutoka Spain. Those DMUs. Alafu inasema pia kuna kitu tunaita NMT improvement. NMT inamaanisha non-motorized transit. So non-motorized transit ni walking and cycling. The most basic means of transport. In fact, everybody, even that one who uses a car, still has to walk. Na hapa tumeona very small interventions being done, but very successful. Tumeona kama Luthuli Avenue, pedestrian space ilikuwa improved. Last year nilifanya research huko na some of the traders, 86% walisema they like the improvements, because now they can open their businesses longer. There are more people who walk feel safe walking there. Alafu pia the air quality may improve. Watu walikuwa wameweka fans kwa maduka kwa sababu moshi ya matri vile ina rev ilikuwa inaingia maduka. Sasa hizo matri haziko. Sasa the place is much cleaner, alafu greener, etc. Alafu the other NMT improvements tumeona kama City Hallway, hata James Gishuru Road, even parts of different other parts of the town. Lakini kitu important ni kitu tunaita MRTS, mass rapid transit system. Okay, towards that vision, but you need, without that goodwill from Gava, you're not going to have, for instance, tumeona Sakaja akisema he wants to bring a light rail system. You know, light rail si kitu ati mtu mkabane anaamka. There's so much that goes into it. Because there's land reclamation, kuna route scheduling, where do you want the light rail to go, which bodies of government are involved, you know, is it county, is it railways, is it, you know, how will it how do you link it to also other means of transport? For instance, tukona 5 BRT corridors. Pilot is being done on Thika Road, which, you know, we can discuss later. But there are also other corridors that are being. How do you link those two? So the city, to do all that, you need goodwill from different levels of government and different institutions. Good example. Si unajua kuna kura Kenya Bandozo na Kenya
na kuna ile nyingine kera
even so them doing roads in Nairobi West. I did not know Nairobi West ni rural area
ni ocha kwa kina msi but kuna kitu moja.
Hold on. Now those bodies come, tuseme hii Mombasa road kwenda Kenya, alafu labda Langata road I think ni kura. So if you have a BRT lane that maybe passes those two bodies have to also be in agreement that their infrastructure will be. So you need, and that can only happen with political coordination from all levels of government. Alafu pia kuna county involvement because you are within the Nairobi county. So you have to have that multi-sectoral approach. And then of course kuna stakeholders. And stakeholders najua ni wengi. You can talk of the owners of the vehicles. Workers, you know, workers we normally don't talk about matatu workers. We talk about matatu owners.
Yes.
You see, I won't name them. Some people always speaking on behalf of matatu, but you know, conductor, girl of stage, bigger city, all those guys, you know, are stakeholders. And how do they?
Cap, how can you forget the largest growing road user,
Nduthi gang.
Now that is now
that's
sector.
That's a whole other sector. But now I want to turn to Ubona Mkabana, and I want to ask this question. I know we've had unajua transport especially if you spend a lot of time in jam, it costs this amount of money to the Kenyan, right? Taxpayer, the amount of money that we basically lose sitting in traffic trying to navigate from one point to the other because of just bad coordination in terms of transport. And by the way, this is not just a Nairobi issue. We saw the governor of Nakuru checking into office and immediately matatus are like, "Wah, amka kumekucha." Wakotao, you know. Mombasa, you can similar issue. There's a guy who calls us here and says, "Ooh, traffic police officer na wachilele side ingine and is more than this other side. This is on Nyeri Bridge." So there's clearly effects of bad transport or badly coordinated transport in a country that's a hub like Kenya. What are the effects?
The effects are huge, and when you're talking about badly coordinated, let's just come a bit to Nairobi. You had NMS, it has gone. You had Nairobi county government with its own transport system. You have Ministry of Transport on its own. You have Namata on its own. You have NTSA on its own. Then you have those agencies, rural road. All of these people sometimes don't see eye to eye. What this one is doing, this one does not know. And you just look at it and you start saying, yes, we need either the president or the Minister of Transport who comes in place must be a real champion, because that way then you will be able to understand where the problem lies. So kwa hivyo the challenge that now exists is how do we bring all those people together? Na tutaelekeza namna gani public transport ndio iweze kusaidia kila mtu na isaidie kila mtu kutoka kwa makanga mwenye iko katika barabara mpaka kwa dereva mpaka kwa amesema kuna workers wanasahauliwa. The most affected and not thought about is the passenger. Nobody thinks about the passenger. Polisi akija aseme hii gari imefanya makosa, nyote mnaambiwa tokeni.
Yeah.
Whether you had luggage, whether you had children,
Yeah.
whether you were sick, the police doesn't want to know. It's just looking at that. Na tusisahau kwamba na hiyo public transport system imeharibiwa sana na corruption. Tusikose kuongea.
Kwanza if you ask the average Kenyan, anafikiria matatu zote zinauniwa na mapolisi.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the running the story.
Yeah. So this corruption and failure of enforcement, whether it is county enforcement or it's police enforcement, imeleta shida sana. Manake hapo ndio the weakest link actually katika cooperate transport efficiently. Na mtu asipo deal na hiyo weakest link, bado tutakuwa na shida nyingi sana katika transport. Ulikuwa umeniuliza swali kidogo nimesahau.
Swali hapa ni what effect. Na unajua hata Monday ni jana tulikuwa tunaongea juu ya role ya CAS. Just to go back to what you're saying. Na someone was seated there, senator, akatuambia kwamba this role is important kwa sababu saa zingine CS na PS hawafanyi kazi vizuri. You understand? And nikikusikia sasa unasema hizi agencies zote wa Kenya tunawalipa, si tunajua kazi inafanyika. Alafu tunataka kutuambia ati shida ni coordination.
Yes.
Mbona msifanye team building na mkae pamoja na mse? Najua ni jokes lakini this is for an average Kenyan. I don't need to think about it complicated. So mashida zangu zina come through kwa sababu kuna Kenya hapo inasema don't put poster here. Lakini kura ndio hiyo imekuja paka sijui wapi kuweka barabara, and you're saying all these efforts are not coordinated and they just need wakuje pamoja ndio to start to feel the effects.
Yeah, so kukuja pamoja is what we really want. Na that attempt imefanywa kidogo na hii shirika inaitwa Namata. Manake Namata inashirikisha kaunti 5 ambazo ni Kajiado, Kiambu, Murang'a, Nairobi na Machakos. Zote pamoja. So unaona ama politician 5 wamewekwa pamoja.
Yeah.
Alafu inatakiwa sasa kila sehemu, kila kitengo ya hizo zidonate mtu katika hiyo.
Yeah.
So Kura italeta mtu, Ken haitaleta mtu, Nairobi County italeta mtu. So ukileta hawa watu wote pamoja wataleta hii coordination pamoja under Namata. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tunatarajia kwamba kama Namata ingeweza kupewa ile, unajua hata haijapata act of its own.
Yeah.
Bado iko ni executive order ambayo inatumia. Hiyo ndio ikiwekwa na iwe funded properly, hiyo ndio itaweza kuhamanisha na kuleta hawa watu wote pamoja. Na kwa hivyo sasa hapo utaanza kuona effect ya gava kuendeleza mipango itaanza kuendelea vizuri, because uwezi kupanga transport ya Nairobi bila kufikiria what is happening in the dormitory towns. Dormitory towns za Machakos, Kitengela, Kiambu, Kikuyu, all these people go home and come to Nairobi. During the day wako hapa Nairobi, usiku ndio wanaenda
nyumbani. Now one key question nimeulizwa of course, na leo ni tuliwa invite tuongee juu ya hii bus terminus yenye inafunguliwa hapa na pia BRT, right? Because these are big projects. Now by the way, to the average Kenyan, hii kuangia ati ni project ya free, ni pesa zenu zinafanya. And the reality, sometimes you do a project and you have to just walk away from it and realize that okay, hapa tumeblanda, let's leave.
Yeah.
Hii bus stop, and I'd love to hear both your thoughts, right? Pali wanataka coordinate all the roads zenye zinakuja from all the transport that's coming from different parts of Nairobi, end up hapo inaitwaje? Green Park.
Yeah.
And sisi kama watu ambao tumepita tu hapo, nasi ati mimi ni msee wa urban planning na tumetuma macho hivi na nasema sioni. So what are your thoughts? Hii kitu in NMS wameweza ama itabidi it needs to be rethought? How can this project be successful?
Okay, one thing I know is new plan. One of the proposals kwa new plan ilikuwa development of a new terminus outside the traditional CBD. But now beyond that, it did not go into details. And I know it was also kulikuwa na plan ya what we call loop line, a line that goes around the CBD, a public transport line that goes around just around the CBD.
Yeah.
And then in that way that you remove vehicles, make the CBD more walkable,
Yeah.
and then people can easily, if you need to move around, you move around with that particular line. But now beyond there, I think that's where now that your decision, this different termini came from, because there are actually 2 termini that were developed. Kuna Green Park, which we've all seen.
Yeah.
Kuna pia Park Road. Sijui kama umepitia Park Road recently. The whole of Park Road is actually a terminus, but it's not being used. It's, I think 75% under construction.
Okay.
And I understand the vehicles. This is called Accra Road, Kenneth Matiba Road. Mount Kenya vehicles were supposed to be
That's
there,
right.
but it has not happened again because of political reasons. So that's where it came from. The whole strategy came from. But what we have not, we've not seen how the modeling was done. We've just seen trials that are being done where all vehicles are being told to go there.
Yeah.
Yet it may not make sense because of where some vehicles are coming from.
Yeah.
And also where others are going to. You know?
Yeah.
So it's a 50. I would say 50-50 because I still believe it can work for some vehicles.
I mean,
Yeah, I
even
believe, like,
from
for
which
46,
side?
for 46 number 4, me I believe it can work.
Yeah.
Because even if you use those materials, where do people come out mostly?
Apo.
Ajip.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
Ajip, and then
It's not so
it
far
goes-
from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then it goes
Kingetao
Hey.
into railways.
Yeah.
Kap umeonyesha miaka zako ati Ajip.
But it's called Ajip.
Inaitwa Ajip. Hiyo
Lakini
stage-
inaitwa Ajip.
hiyo stage inaitwa Ajip.
Ai, Ajip ilitoka Kenya lini?
Hiyo stage inaitwa Ajip.
Najua.
There are some stages the names never change.
Yeah, I know.
Alafu pia quality.
Na Keno.
Quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keno.
Yeah, again. Yep.
OTC.
But it's exciting. Just one question for you. Do you think problem ni one, Nairobi imejaa mashule? Kitu ingine Nairobi imejaa bar. Kitu ingine Nairobi imejaa eating food spots. So kila mtu anakaa mtao. Don't you think maybe if other things ama other amenities ikitolewa outside town, it could be a little bit easier for traffic getting into town?
What would you want in town?
Tao inaweza kuwa ni base-
Discounts.
Ati discounts.
Literally the only reason I go to town and passport and ID.
Yeah.
Salena to
Maybe
Goma.
government offices zingekuwa tao. Alafu all other things ziko nje ya tao.
Although now you see, like what Vile Sakaja was saying, county departments now will be in sub-counties, so people don't need to come to City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, town should actually be eateries, it should be places where you can
Just
come
come
and
to
have fun.
sightsee, yeah.
In fact, if I had the permission, I would ban all private vehicles from coming to town.
Hallelujah.
Just make it pedestrianized. People walk in, and you easily access now, maybe using a circular route. Although I know I'm diverting the conversation.
Yeah.
But on going back to that particular Green Park, I mean, there's a lot more. You can say modeling that, like Mr. Mukabane said earlier, that needs ought to be looked at. For some routes, it may make perfect sense.
So
Kibera,
hizo za
Kambale,
Ngong route.
yeah, those ones. In fact, if I were them, I would not have tried telling all vehicles, including City Hopper, Kenya Bus, City
Yeah.
Shuttle,
Yeah.
when they were doing those trials.
Yeah.
I would just start with two routes, tell them to use, incentivize, in fact, and then see how it works. If it fails,
Yeah.
you just submit. I say, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Just fail.
Bwana Mkabana, for me, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing the same thing he's saying, which is ini stage ya wase wa Ngong Road, right? Watu wengine wanafaa labda watafute ingine hapo pali. Kulikuwa na church hapo ya pastor nani ili hiyo yenye ilitolewa. Badala ya panganga mingi weka hiyo hapo, badala ya kuweka petrol station weka stage hapo, lakini it's somebody's property. Na railways part of property. What are your thoughts juu ya hiyo bus stop?
Green Park, let's look back first of all. Do you know there was a bus station it's called Mudhurwa? What happened to it?
It's a market.
What is going to happen to Green Park? Will it be a market?
It will be a
It
market.
will end up being a market.
And it has infringed on a very fresh area of a
Greenery,
park.
Yeah.
First of all, to me, to put it there was a mistake, if you asked me. We have had ways of starting to do other parks. There is the Park Road, there is another one called Desai, which is there. So all these vehicles were supposed to end on the periphery. But to me, the periphery they are talking about is not the periphery that we want. The periphery should be almost on the city boundaries. Kangemi, maybe Dagoret Corner, maybe come somewhere to Bomas. That is what that will be the correct. And then the circular routes that he's talking about would then kick in and bring those people, and then they will be cross-city routes that would start going. Therefore, a place like Green Park, you wonder why create Green Park and you have Central Bus Station and Hakati. And then you have Mudhuru across, and then you have Machakos. All these are parks. And then there is a plan to create another one at Workshop Road from Enterprise Road, so that you come over the bridge.
Yeah.
When you look at all that coordination, it looks good, but it is very uncoordinated. When you create a facility like Green Park, you must create an integration so that mtu wa gari ndogo anaweza kuevacuate people hapo na kuleta watu hapo. BRT should be able to pick people from there and take them. So ukiangalia pale BRT stage yake itakuwa wapi ya kuevacuate people from there, because you are talking of a mass people coming in. Alafu ukiangalia hiyo hawa watu wote wamewekwa upande wa eastern part of Uhuru Highway. They have all to cross to go down walking to Mudhurwa, where there is another bus stop, to Hakati. Not Hakati, we don't know what they want to do with it. But they are expecting that everybody will go to Park Road and others will go to Desai. And you have not created that link properly. There is something we call generalized costs of transport. These are costs that you incur from the time you leave home to the time you reach your destination. Either you are changing the route several times, or you have had to unasikia njaa ununue maji, or unasema pana wacha ningoje jamu ishe kidogo kunywa kabia kamoja ndio niende. All this become generalized costs of transport. So you find the cost of transport, which is now almost 30 to 40% of family income.
Imagine.
Inaleta shida. So your Green Park, kulingana na mimi, it can work vile Constant amesema, when you target a particular corridor, just one corridor, and you say all these vehicles, I expect them here. But would you have achieved much? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Because they're coming in and getting out. You see, they were forced to create another road when it failed to work inside Uhuru Park to come and then through Serena to go up. But when they reach up there at NSSF, they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to come back this side because it will create another conflict. So kumekuwa na stalemate hapo.
Sasa niulize, mbona watu wachorangi hizi vitu? Amjongi kufanya dami kwanza kabla mwanze kutumia pesa wa Kenya kwa barabara.
And let me tell you, that is where we have a problem. And my problem is that hizi vitu zote zimeachiwa engineers. It must be town planners first. Akina CAP must come in first and say, how do we want this thing distributed? Before engineers waje waambie, okay, this is what we have planned. Sasa engineers tuende namna gani?
Na sasa of course tumeelewa juu ya BRT, tumeongea juu ya hiyo bus park, tumeelewa kwamba kama Wakenya one of the key things pali tuna let downiwa ni cost of transport iko high. Na sisi kama Wakenya tunalipa taxes zetu fiti, tunajua watu wenye wameingia hapo kazi ni ku make sure that wame streamline na wamepanga with the right kind of people, si kuongeza ofisi zingine, wame get the right kind of people, wameka down, wameplan na wame execute the right thing. Yes, we understand that sometimes things fail, right? But you not on such a large scale over and over again. Tukimalizia nataka tuongee juu ya pedestrians. Because hata jana nilikuwa naambia Wakenya, sijui kwa nini tunainvest sana kuweka ma footbridge. Kwa sababu Wakenya ni kama unaona Mkenya anapita chini ya hiyo footbridge. But also that's behavioral change. Ukiangalia hizi plans Cap, you said you're a cyclist and we're just almost at the top of the hour. The average Kenyan, I remember growing up, there were more people riding bicycles to work. Walikuwa nasema anaenda kufanya kazi kwa nyumba ya mtu mwingine, labda ni askari nini, but you'd see a lot of black mambas on the road, right? Which was normal. With those black mamba people with the road, you know, with so many more cars, they cannot be able to cycle. By the way, I can't imagine someone riding a black mamba on these roads now. Maybe you need a stronger bike. What do we need? And is there political goodwill? We've had Panganga, but do you see like there's political goodwill for there to be, for it to be safe? You call it NMT, non-motorized transport in Kenya.
Yes and no. Yes, because we are beginning to see more people, that discussion coming out. And we have even seen people like Kenya Urban Roads Authority slowly pushing for that space. If you look at Ngong Road, there's a good attempt there in phase 2 towards pedestrian and cycling lanes. But we still have other authorities and I'll mention even Kenya Highways Authority. You know, this entire stretch between Nyayo Stadium and University Way. You know,
Nothing.
Safe pedestrian way. No, you know, just some bricks on the side there to call it a pedestrian way. No safe cycling way. 45% of Nairobians walk as their primary means of movement, and that's why when you go to Mbagathi Way, I did a pedestrian count there, 50 people per minute.
Wow.
Okay, that's and it was just a rough pedestrian count. Juja Road is you'll even get more there. I mean, we're doing some work in Madare the other day. There you'll even see many cyclists, and those ones are now risky
on the highway.
Yeah, Juja Road, you know, you're there with those maforwards, nini, alafu kuna mtu kuna baiskeli, mwingine ndudhi, nini. So we need, first of all, again at national level, to agree upon what our street design for urban areas is going to be, and it has to be all inclusive, because there are things that we cannot cheat ourselves. One, we have many pedestrians, and even walking is a means of transport. It's a means of movement. It's not just a thing for a guy who doesn't have a car. It's cycling is a means of movement. Street vending is something we cannot run away from in sub-Saharan Africa. Tusijidanganye. You know, where you have a stage, people will come to sell.
Hata ujongelea drainage kwa sababu pia kukinyesha the dynamics change.
Then you have also aspects of drainage. Alafu kuna easy cables. Today Safaricom inakuja, tomorrow I don't know.
Poa.
Next day even maybe there's a new provider called Vibes.
And we're coming, guys. We're coming.
Lazima tuwapatie hiyo service.
Taking into account, you know, all those. And that's the point that you see there. That's from a planning stage. Then the engineering now applies that. So you need a national urban street design manual that takes into account all those.
Na Bwana Mkabana, wewe umekuwa kwa different committees. Tukiwind up, I have 1 minute left. Unaona hii story ya pedestrians na design za barabara, venye anasema we need a design ya venye mabarabara, especially urban roads, and all inclusive. Unaona kitu kama hiyo itaifanyika maybe in this government?
Vile limesema ni kwamba there is yes and no, because it is starting to before, when you talked about this, it was very difficult. They became wild. They said how there is no money, but now I think there is now a rule in urban roads that they must provide pedestrianization, which is now a good thing. But the funds are not coming with it. So we would like to see more funds coming with it, and we hope that this is going to take shape, so that we start seeing a lot of more NMT facilities developing, and not only just NMT, with public transport infrastructure, especially bus stops. Bus stops zipeanwe na sheds na nini. I don't know if you've been to Dubai. You go bus stop,
BRT, man, BRT in Dubai, even in South Africa. It's crazy. I hope we get there one day.
And that is what we are hoping to come.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Cap, we're going to invite you again because you know we're getting to World Sight Day soon. And the conversation, of course, is around disabilities and urban planning, right? Tutakuinvite to discuss hiyo kwa sababu tunaona clearly unaelewa hiki. No cap. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had to have that conversation for a whole hour. I hope umelana thing or two hapo. Kenye umelana, hit us up on #Kwambox and Kev. Sasa sale politician anakuja kupatia promises. Tunajua. Goodwill is what you need.
Mr. Mkabana na Kapo alisema.
Right now, you're at the top of the hour. It's 9 a.m.